welcome to the grand opening of Prestonsburg's primary and urgent care clinic. And honestly, I couldn't be more happy than I am to be here today. I'm Aaron Crum. I'm Chief Medical Officer at Pikeville Medical Center, and I've actually been back at Pikeville practicing in some fashion for the last 20 years. But I grew up in Prestonsburg, so this is definitely home to me. It's where I went to high school. And so I'm very excited about today's opening. The hospital's had tremendous growth, and most people know that, and we've really made a focus to grow in the contiguous areas of ours and provide care that needed to be provided there. And so we've done many of these openings, and we're continuing to do more, and we've realized that our product is one that really works well in the area. And so specifically here in Prestonsburg, though, I would say this one's very special to me. I can probably talk loud enough in here that you might not need it. You can tell me. Can you hear me? So I actually grew up right up there, about 150 yards from here, in a little house on the hill. And as I was looking around, right where we are, this was Music Carter Hughes. I'm pretty sure this is where the service shop was, and this is where my grandfather was a service mechanic for his whole life, basically. So in the little area here that's fenced in, there's a little hill there. That's where we used to ride our bicycles and jump off the hill into the cars down here. The Music Carter Hughes, they loved that. But actually, they did move the cars back for us so we would quit hitting them. But it is a special place for me. Prestonsburg is. My parents both live here. My dad was here. He just left. My mother's here. And then it's interesting, but if you look at the leadership team of the hospital, about a third of our members are from Prestonsburg. Michelle Rainey, our chief nursing officer, is right here. Eric Blackburn's from Prestonsburg, our legal counsel. Several of our board members are either from Floyd County or have business interests in Floyd County. So we really have a close connection to Prestonsburg and Floyd County. Also, you know, this isn't new. We've been in Prestonsburg. Whether you know it or not, it's the People's Bank building now, but we have a beautiful space in the top of that. And we provide specialty care there. We provide cardiology, electrophysiology, neurology, vascular surgery. So we've always been there, and we've been there on a referral basis. And you've noticed we haven't really tried to go after this market. We don't really advertise heavy in this market. We've just let people refer to our physicians and provide the care that we provide at Pikeville here in Prestonsburg. But now, especially in the primary care world, there's a need, and there's a tremendous need, not just in Prestonsburg, but in all the areas in Appalachia in general. And so we have made a concerted effort to get into those markets and to get into them in the way that we do things at Pikeville Medical Center. And I think that's what you're going to see, and hopefully you've been through the building, and honestly it turned out better than I thought it would. But this is kind of just the start of our clinical presence in Prestonsburg. And so, as you see, we're going to start this out as a primary care practice. We're going to start this out with people that you're going to find are unbelievable doctors, and I'll mention them in a minute. And then we're also going to then expand into the urgent care arena, which I'm very excited about. That's a product that most places, that they really need. It's a great product. And what it does is it basically gives expanded hours for general basic medical care. And you think of it you go to your family doctor for general family care. You go to the emergency room for things that are significant emergencies, but there is an in-between, and urgent care is for that in-between area. And we try to do it in some expanded hours as well. Also, we have plans to expand our specialties into Prestonsburg, and we're in some negotiations I can't really get deep into right now, but our intention is to provide some very significant specialty care here in Prestonsburg and also out of this building. And as that expands, the urgent care that we're able to provide will expand as well. So what I hope that you find is excellent primary care, somewhere to go when you don't have something that rises to the level of emergency care need, but you don't want to wait until the next day either. So, and when we get started, there's a face that you guys will know, and that's Dr. Debbie Hall. And let's see where, and there's Debbie, and Debbie's like me. She grew up down here. And I'll see if this works now. And we're very excited to have her. She has a very busy practice. And, you know, when I talked to her as she came on board with Pikeville, it's no different than talking to her 30 years ago. She's just a hometown lady. She does a great job. She has a very busy practice. And I think that she has a large patient population that resides in Prestonsburg and Floyd County as well. And so I think she's going to do incredible here. We also have another physician, Dr. Kevin Farthing, who's a byproduct of Pikeville Medical Center's residency program, which we're very proud of. And once you meet Kevin, you'll realize he's going to do incredible anywhere he would go. I guess he's just a good old boy is the best way to describe him. He's a very good doctor, but he has a way about him that people are going to be very comfortable with. For family reasons, he couldn't be here today, but I think this area has got a real asset in these two physicians that we're going to have here. And we're rapidly, hopefully, going to expand that into some other areas. And I wish that I could announce those things today. I would love to, but kind of stay tuned for that. The other people that we probably ought to mention is Kansas Justice. Kansas is our chief operating officer for the hospital, and all of the construction and all of this actually coming together was her team's doing. And then Melissa Thacker is here, and she's the chief operating officer of our clinic. So she actually puts the clinical side of this together and puts how this is going to happen really into action. I don't really have a whole lot else to say other than I am very excited again to be here in Prestonsburg. Actually, you know, I did some of my training down here when 25, 30 years ago at Highlands. Like I said, I grew up here and very excited that we're able to put what we think is an incredible product right here in Prestonsburg. Randy, would you mind to open our services with prayer?
Sure. Let's pray. Creator God, we gather here today in Prestonsburg to ask your blessings on Pikeville Medical Center's newest clinic. Thank you for this place and for the opportunity to bring health care, healing, and hope to many. We ask your blessing on all who enter here. May they find compassion, wisdom, and mercy that all leads to better living. Bless, too, the staff as they offer themselves day in and day out in service to all. Amen.
The next person that I want to introduce has been at our hospital now for less than 2 years. He comes from a background of management, of leadership through several large companies. And honestly, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And I kid with Donovan a lot. We give each other a hard time, but I do mean that these expansions, these products that you're seeing, they really wouldn't happen without a CEO who was really pushing on the gas pedal at all times. And so, you know, I think I really do think what you need is someone, and Donovan's not from medicine, Donovan's from business. And so I think we've got a great thing where we have a leader who says, I want to provide the best care we can to the most people that we can. You know, we need to run this in a fashion that's responsible to the region. And then our job is to say, okay, but you can only do so much. So most of the time you'll see us kind of pulling him back. But I think what you'll see is tremendous expansion and growth under his leadership. So Donovan Blackburn.
Well, Dr. Crum, I greatly appreciate the introduction. You know, Aaron, since coming to the hospital, has truly been one, almost like an octopus. There's 8 tentacles at the hospital with our executive staff. And they do an absolutely amazing job. Aaron is not only the chief medical officer, but he's also the assistant CEO. And over the past couple of years, he has really helped guide me on understanding this clinical side of the business. So I do appreciate Aaron's counsel and certainly the introduction. But what I really appreciate also on top of that is for everybody that took time today to come out and to share this moment with us. You know, our vision at Pikeville Medical Center and our mission statement is to provide world-class quality health care in a Christian environment. And though I get the opportunity, like so many people today has come up to have and share a Pikeville Medical Center story, I get the opportunity on behalf of 3,000 ambassadors that get up every day and proudly put our logo on to represent our brand and represent the passion that it takes to really be healers of our community. Because we are truly one community. I grew up in Pikeville and in Pike County before coming to Pikeville. But a lot of my friends and family are from this area. And I started mentioning a moment ago our 8 executive team leaders. Several of our team leaders, including Dr. Crum, are from Floyd County in this area. So we are all one people, we are all one community, and this is simply one investment to ensure that we're taking care of the people of our region. I cannot be more proud to be located in downtown Prestonsburg. This is huge for us, and hopefully a product that everybody here will be extremely proud of. With me, and Dr. Crum was very kind in his comments, but in order to be able to have vision, you have to have support and you have to have funding of a board of directors that are willing to step up and make decisions on what's not always in the best interest of the bottom line, but what's in the best interest of the community. And I can honestly say that I have the distinct pleasure of serving on the board of directors with 14 members that believe in not just Pikeville Medical Center, but believe in our region and believe certainly in our mission, which is partly why you see over $3 million invested behind me, over $3 million. And if at this time, if our board of directors, we're sitting here, I think everybody's over here, don't see anybody else. If you don't mind, stand to be recognized. Jonelle Robinson, Linda Justice, Jodine Anderson, Clint Martin, and John LaBreche, along with several, myself and Dr. Crum also serves. But I greatly appreciate each one of you, and for allowing me to do what I'm able to do every day is a dream come true. So thank you all for coming out, and thank you for making this investment in Prestonsburg. Thank you. Let's see. I also want to, and then bear with us for just a moment, because there is some folks that I want to make sure that we do recognize and thank, because it truly does take a village. It takes a village to have vision, and it takes a village to recognize where there is hope and opportunity and to come together. And so that's what happened. You know, I've told this story a couple of times today, but I've got a childhood friend of mine that reached out. And, you know, part of what I do in this capacity and what I've done in other jobs also is to seek and look at opportunities where you make a smart investment for the right reason. But instead of me reaching out, I had somebody reach out to me, and somebody that had more even passion. And for some of you that may not know, I served as the city manager for Pikeville for 14 years and had the opportunity of serving that community. But I also looked across the high US 23 and I saw a friend of mine that was elected to office that I could not be more proud of. Somebody that believed in not only his community, but walks it and talks it every single day. And what you don't know is the amount of phone calls and texts, a lot of text, and I say that with love and admiration, but a lot of text. Man loves to text. And I joke, I do too. My staff's laughing also. But you know, it's a blessing to have Mayor Stapleton as a childhood friend and a friend, but more important, he and the council that believed in what we wanted to do and took the time and effort to really hold our hand and to walk our way through this process. So Mayor Stapleton and the Prestonsburg Council, I cannot thank you enough. I've lost you. There you are. I appreciate you, my friend. I do. Telling you, I mean this with all sincerity. There's a lot of people, and I've had the privilege of being in politics for now about 17 years, and a lot of people wear the title, but some people really put forth the effort and set the example, and Les is certainly one of those people that's done this in this case. And I do appreciate him very much. But there's also other folks in the audience here too that I wanted to thank. I saw them a moment ago, and again, there's a lot of faces in the crowd, and I really appreciate you coming out. But Estel Carter, Estel, you're here. So, there he is. There's Estel. Again, Estel, one of my dearest friends is Jimmy Carter, who's the mayor of Pikeville. And Jimmy and I grew up through Lowe's together. And I knew Estel, and knew of his integrity and who he was and what he represented and how much he cared about his community. But, I also had the great privilege, as God often leads us in so many different ways. My son was looking for a home. He actually worked for Pikeville Medical Center and started a new family. And by the way, in my heart, I stood up and almost got a tear in my eye. Those of you that know me know this, but as I look back, for those of you that don't know me, you'll see the grand opening banner back here, and you'll see the little girl and the little boy. That's my grandkids. The 2-year-old, she suffers from, in essence, an anxiety disorder for sensory. And if you've written about me and know why I do, it's because of kids like that in our community that deserve an opportunity and a chance and hope. And Estel, he gave my son that hope. And that I showed up and looked in a paper one day, and there was a home for sale that they were going to auction off right up past the hospital. So I got in the car, and it's when I was working for the city, and drove up there. And as God does so many things at so many different times for me in my life, I happened to be the only person there for the auction. So, the family reached out, and I happened to be Estel and Jimmy, and it was his mother's home place. An old clapboard house that had been there for a long time. And I saw the passion in their eyes and what it meant to them. And they came in and actually made me an offer, and I ended up buying it. And my sons, I have 2 boys, we spent all year rebuilding the home, tearing it out and putting stud in it. And it was a good project for us but as we went through the home, we realized what it meant to the family as well. So I appreciate what you did for my family and what you've done for this project, Estel. You're a dear friend. Thank you. Now you see a building over that we salvaged, one of the buildings, and because like so many of the projects that we have, we plan to expand. And in this business, you literally crawl before you walk and run. So our first investment is what you see behind us, as I mentioned, over $3 million worth of state-of-the-art facility with some of the best practitioners and support personnel that you'll find anywhere. But the intent is you'll soon see that this building will look a lot like this building. The same facade will be put on the front of it, and for our second phase of growth. And the module was set up in a way that it gives us the opportunity to add components to it. So as Dr. Crum mentioned, as we expand the market and grow the market, we have plenty of space here to grow upon, which was part of the vision. So again, I appreciate it. And then also, this originally was supposed to be over in South Williamson. And Les called me one day and said, we'd like to have you open sooner. And we were negotiating the possibility of moving to another location. And because of that, I said, well, how about we open this year and we go ahead and move our module to Prestonsburg. So here we are, just a few short months later. But it wouldn't be possible without a couple of things happening. And one of those, again, was Kansas. She's our chief operating officer, as you mentioned, and a lot of folks went into developing this behind us. But Kansas and her team, and just like I get to take credit for 3,000 people, the work that they do, Kansas has that same opportunity. But there's one person in the audience here. Ralph, where you at? There he is. Ralph, stand up for a minute. Ralph Aloma is over our projects. And we've got over $60 million in projects going on right now. And I've never seen such a stressed look in someone's face when I said, not only I realize you just set the module up, now you're going to take it apart, you're going to move it to Prestonsburg, and oh, by the way, I want it open by September the 30th. And so Ralph has lived here. He was here, he's been here for quite a while, and I appreciate, Ralph, your efforts and your team's efforts and all that you did to get us open today, so thank you. But we also had a huge partner. Dick Jarvis is here too. Dick, I saw you. There he is, right in front of me. Elliot's has been a great partner on so many different projects that when we ask for them to do something, they get it done. And they're another one of those regional leaders that do a wonderful job in a class act company. So we appreciate, again, the pivot, as I mentioned earlier. So I want to thank you as well. And then you don't make things happen like this. And I've mentioned, and I'm going to introduce the various guest speakers here in just a moment as they come up. But you don't do projects like this without community support. So Regina Jones is here. Regina represents Senator Rand Paul, who's been a huge advocate of health care and support. And I appreciate you coming out today, and certainly appreciate the Senator for his encouragement and support along the way. So thank you for coming. And then I got a call actually from Hal Rogers' office. Hal's obviously busy these days. But Hal wanted to congratulate me not just on this announcement, but also we just announced several $1 million worth of grant funding to build one of the first children's hospitals in eastern Kentucky with Pikeville Medical Center too. So I appreciate, certainly. And then on top of that, there's so much going on in our community that I could not be more proud of. You know, I had the fortune of being appointed to the SOAR board. I was one of the original folks that was appointed way back when and got the pleasure of serving as the first managing director. And how all that comes into play is Governor Bevin role, in that a lot of the investments we're making, you know, right now, as of last week, we had over 160 job openings and a difficult time in trying to fill these positions and get people in our markets trained. And this isn't we employ 3,000 employees from 34 different counties in Kentucky. Our second biggest county that we employ from is Floyd County. As I mentioned, several of our key staff are from Floyd County. But Governor Bevin, being about jobs and about opportunity, called me up when he heard my speech upon the need to be able to educate and to promote people locally. And I just spent the last 2 hours, and that's partly the reason why I was a little bit late, but I spent time with Secretary Rainey, the Secretary of Education, who come to Pikeville Medical Center, and he met with me and several of my staff members. We met with every principal, both superintendents, about a new program we're going to roll out called K-Tech, which was actually rolled out in Perry County. So Eastern Kentucky is getting the benefit of this first. And it's to allow our kids an apprenticeship program, 100 children in Pike County school system in Perry County, and the intent of hopefully rolling this program out, allowing them to a program of apprenticeship to earn an associate's degree while they're still in high school, to graduate and come into the healthcare field to be able to fill the need of our community. So we're going to put 100 kids to work immediately coming out of school, and Pikeville Medical Center is going to be a key piece of having the job offer when they finish. So again, because of these type of investments and the investments out back, we're making a difference, not just by the name of the building, but throughout all of Eastern Kentucky, and certainly within our service region. And then also we appreciate our partnership. I've seen Jordan Gibson at the back. Jordan, thank you for coming out. The Southeast Chamber of Commerce is doing so much work in our community, promoting business and promoting growth, and we certainly appreciate our partnership with the Chamber. And as always, you look around, if there's an event, Jordan's going to be there. There's no doubt in my mind. And Jordan, we thank you. And I'm sure, as anybody does, you leave somebody out. I saw Ben Hill a minute ago from the ad. There he is in the back, my dear friend Ben back there. But I certainly appreciate everybody coming out today and listening to the talking heads, because we're really excited about this. You know, we put a year's worth of work into making investments in communities, so I appreciate you giving us an hour or 2 hours of your time to come out and celebrate these great achievements with us. We're extremely excited and thrilled to be in this community in this way. So I've got a couple of guest speakers that's coming up, and as I mentioned, it really takes a village and takes a great legislative and local support to be able to make policy and to divert funds and to do all the things that's needed to ensure health care becomes a huge priority. Health care represents almost 10% of the state's total wages. As I mentioned, represents in Pike County alone, it's over 20, we represent over 22% So it's extremely important to our economy as we go forward to make smart investments in healthcare. And the folks that I'm getting ready to bring up believes in that and believes in our mission as well. So the first person I'd like to invite to the podium is our local state senator, Senator Philip Wheeler, who's a good friend of mine. I'm glad to have him on our team, glad that he's at the post that he's at, and would invite him to the podium to share a few words of wisdom. Senator Wheeler.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much. I'm so proud to be here in Prestonsburg today at the opening of this wonderful clinic of Pikeville Medical Center. Like Dr. Crum, I guess this property means a lot to him. Pikeville Medical Center means a lot to me. My father is Dr. Charles P. Wheeler, an ophthalmologist that's served in this area for 34 years. So Pikeville Medical Center was actually the place as a young man where my dad went to work, where my dad went to help people. And, you know, as Donovan said, the slogan for Pikeville Medical Center is world-class care in a Christian environment. And, you know, there's a lot of people talk about world-class care, and there's a lot of hospitals that do give quality care. But I think the second part of that mission statement is equally important, you know, in a Christian environment. Pikeville Medical Center cares about their employees and they care about their community. You see that in executives like Donovan Blackburn, board members like Ron Burchett, directors like Dr. Crum. You know, as Christians, we're taught to love our fellow man, to give them opportunity, to give them hope, and that is what Pikeville Medical Center does each and every day for thousands and thousands of employees, and more importantly, for thousands and thousands of patients. And what I really admire about Donovan and the leadership that he's brought over the past couple of years, although Pikeville Medical Center has made great strides over the prior decades, I think the focus on the educational aspect of medicine, of creating opportunities for our children and grandchildren to live here, to turn Eastern Kentucky to a center of medical learning, you know, that's new. And to start down in high school, you know, and bring them into quality middle-class jobs, that's vision. And, you know, and that's what it takes to have a successful employer and a Christian environment. It's caring about your employees, it's caring about their future, and it's making sure that not only is this employer going to be here for our community today, but that this region and this community will have a future. And I'm so proud to be here today in Prestonsburg. I'm an attorney. I practice throughout the region. Actually, our law firm has an office here in Prestonsburg. My law partner, Representative Lafferty, is a Floyd County native. So I am so happy that Pikeville has chosen to bring their world-class care as well as their message to this community. And I look forward to supporting the hospital in any way that I can as a legislator to further that goal. So thank you very much for having me here today.
Thank you, Senator. And certainly, we talk about partnerships. I mentioned K-Tech and what we're doing with Pike County Schools, but we have also been working for the past year now with Big Sandy Technical Community College and expanding those programs and our partnership with them. And to the point that Big Sandy here at the Prestonsburg campus has agreed to expand their program, their nursing program for us. So it's not just about one area, it's about tearing down those lines and about doing what's in the best interest of the region. So we're honored and certainly appreciate all of our partnerships. And the next one's no different. Representative Lafferty actually got a call from her, been about a month or so ago, and talked to my executive assistant, and I got a call, said Representative Lafferty would like to come and talk to you. So we sat down and had one of the best conversations that I've had in a long time about how we can all work together, regardless whether she represents that particular area. She represents all of us because she's an Eastern Kentucky native and certainly has our best interest at heart. But what I really appreciated is after all the good conversation and the commitment that I saw in her eyes and what I knew that she believed in, as we stood up and we started to leave, I held out my hand and she said, "No, I'm a hugger." So and I'm a primitive Baptist, so I'm a hugger too. I get in trouble for that sometimes. But it tells me again that we got the right person, and I appreciate, again, your support, and thank you for being here today as well. So I'd like to invite up for a few comments Senator, I keep saying Senator, sorry, read it. I'm trying to promote. Representative Lafferty.
As many of you have probably heard me say, I am a hugger, not a handshaker. But that also comes with the old regular Baptist raising. I want to say that I am absolutely honored to be here to celebrate the coming of this clinic to our community. This building behind us is going to mean so much more to this community than just the brick and mortar that it's built with. This building's going to mean healing, it's going to mean hope, it's going to mean jobs. And in Floyd County, we need all of those things in this community. With that being said, I want to say thank you to Pikeville Medical Center and its leaders, Donovan, the board, for allowing us to come into your network and extending your reach to Floyd County, first with your clinic in Martin, and now with this fabulous facility we're going to have in the city of Prestonsburg. I also want to thank our local leaders and our local council members who have made this possible, and I'm very excited to do everything that I can do to make this partnership a success both now and in the future. Thank you.
Representative, thank you for your kind comments. You know, again, the next person, just like the mayor, is someone that I met early on, actually prior to being sworn into office, I believe. Met him on the street in Essence, and we talked about investments that Pikeville Medical Center was making, and extended not only a hand, but a friendly hand. One that said that I'll work with you in any way we can because together we rise. And I use that terminology because if you look at any of our marketing pieces, that's what we believe in, is we work together, we can make a difference. But Robbie is a great advocate for Eastern Kentucky, certainly a good friend, and someone that really believes in the mission of job creation and doing the right thing. So I could not be more proud to be friends with our Floyd County Judge Williams, Robbie Williams. Robbie.
Thank you all. Those of you who aren't from Floyd County, I want to first welcome you to Floyd County and Prestonsburg. Seems to be a common theme here today that everyone's talking about is regionalization, working together, working across county lines. Who would have ever thought that we would have a Pikeville Medical Center in the middle of downtown Prestonsburg? Boys, are exciting times. Things are changing. We realize that we have to work together. We have to cross those county lines. Me and Missy Allen was just talking about this earlier today. In the past, we've always been concerned about our counties. In order for us to move forward, we're going to have to look at things in a regional way. We don't have the resources as a county to do this. That's why this investment in Floyd County is so great for us. As a judge executive, we have to look at so many different things. We have to look at infrastructure, creating jobs, quality of life issues, and quality health care. That's why PMC locating in Prestonsburg, Kentucky, and bringing that network of quality health services to Floyd County is great for us. Donovan, the board, I want to thank you all for your investment in Floyd County. Not just financially, but in the quality of the life of the people and the residents of Floyd County. This is important for us. Also, quality health care is a cornerstone of any great community, and we're going to be moving forward to the 21st century, and we appreciate your investment in Floyd County. Thank you.
I think I pretty much introduced the next guest already. But again, I just want to reiterate, I cannot thank the mayor enough. Les is certainly, as I mentioned, a dear friend, but has the best interest of not only Prestonsburg, but all of Eastern Kentucky, their interest in his true heart. So at this time, I would invite up my good friend, Mayor Les Stapleton.
So I got to tell you, he was talking about the text. His group, they have 2 different time zones. Me and Donovan would text till 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. And at 5 o'clock, the other end started off. So my sleep was limited there for a while. But I tell you what, it couldn't be a more productive outcome than what we had here. I want to thank Donovan for the kind words. I mean, we've been friends since we were very young. But, you know, I've got a lot of people who works behind me that helps me. They support me. I have 6 of them over here. I have Josh Turner, City Council, Rick Hughes. Throw your hand up so I know which one you are. Shaq Branham, B.D. Nunnery, Dave Gearhart, Don Willis sitting right in front of them. Then I also have Brittany Branham and I have Harry Adams. And you know, never once was I questioned as to, is this going to happen? Is there going to be a medical center there in that area? They supported me. If I need to call a special meeting to try to get some information passed or try to get a deed signed or something, they were there. They were excited about it, and no more excited than I am to have these additional services we hear every in Prestonsburg are phenomenal. If you'd been here 2 months ago and you'd saw this property, you would never believe what we have today. And you know, Ralph and I was here on Sundays, early one Sunday morning, and I cannot tell you the efforts that they put forward to make this happen. The city of Prestonsburg thanks them, and I myself personally, I thank the board members and Donovan and all of y'all so much. Thank you all.
I started earlier to recognize our executive staff. If you're here, please stand up. Again, I appreciate all the efforts, the hard work that went into not only planning of this center, but several others, so thank you. Do we have anybody here outside the good doc that is working at this clinic? Present. Stand up. There. A power of one. All the way in the very back, you see the... Wanted you to see the faces that you'll see as you come through the door. At this time, I'm going to invite our distinguished guests up to cut the ribbon, and would also ask the board members to come up and grab your scissors. Don't run with them because you'll be our first casualty in here. We'd like to invite everybody up. We're going to cut the ribbon, and then after we cut the ribbon, we're going to ask Randy to come back up, and as a Christian environment or a facility, we always open and close in prayer, so we'd ask for Randy to minister the prayer to close us out.
Look at Al over there. He's going to count us down. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, do it. Let us pray. Thank you, God, for this day. Thank you for Mayor Stapleton and Ralph being here on Sundays to say a prayer once in a while. We pray that you would be with us as we go forward. This community, Pikeville Medical Center, this clinic, its people, give us strength, vision to make us a blessing to many. Amen.